guys, today we are back with another problem, and today's problem is sorting zeros, ones and twos in a particular array. So it's like this, that you will be given an array which will contain only zeros, ones and twos. We have to sort the array in ascending order. Okay, so it's a simple sorting technique we are going to follow. But before solving this, let us first analyze the type of approaches which we can use for this particular problem statement. So say for example you have an array, okay, and the array is saying you have 0, you have 2, you have 1, you have 2, you have 0. Okay, so the first target is we have to sort it in ascending order such that the zeros comes before, then the ones, and then the twos. So if you see, there are total number of zeros. So what will be my brute force approach? So if I'm applying brute force approach, so what I can see is the total number of zeros over here is 1 and 2. Okay, so I can keep a counter. And whenever I know one thing, that my array will only contain 0, 1 and 2. So I can put an if condition, and the if condition says that if my array of I is equals to 0, what I will do is I'll put the counter plus plus. Okay, for 0 I will put C1 as the counter. Similarly, if my array of I is equals to 1, okay, so I can write C2 plus plus. It is the counter which is responsible for tracking the count for number of ones. Okay, and lastly what I can do is I can write if my array of I is equals to 2. That means that now my element is 2, then I'll put a count of the 3. So what I can do is I can update the counter of 3. So I can see that carefully, I can see that the counter is being updated. Now in this case what we can see is in the count of 0, 1 will be storing how many counts of 0? 2. Similarly for count of what I can see carefully is what are the second count is 1. So count of 2 means this particular one counter variable, don't get confused, is 1. That means total number of 1 is 1. And for C3, which is storing the total number of 2's, what I can see is we are having total number of 2's as 2. Okay, we are having total number of 2's as 2. So there are total 2 2's, 1 1's and 2 zeros. Okay, now my task will be, if I am seeing this is my counter, what I will be doing is first I will be starting from the 0th position. Okay, what I carefully know is first my task is to go till the count of the 0. So it will be till 0 C1. Okay, so for C1 it will be like this. Okay, from C1 to C2 it will be only 1 count, and then from C2 to C3. Okay, so these are my loop headings. So when I have the loop headings, I can traverse a loop like this for I equals to 0 till C1, and I can store an array resultant array. So if this resultant array will have a size of the total count, okay, C1 plus C2 plus C3. So what I'll be doing is, while running this thing, I will be just storing array of 2 equals to array of I. So this particular array. Similarly, I'll be running total of 3 loops for adding all the 3 values. So for this one, it will be from C1 to C2, and for the other loop, it will be from C2 to C3. So in this way, I can update all the values and then finally return my array, which will contain total all the elements. Okay, which will contain all the elements. But is it an efficient approach? Well, this works, but it's not an efficient approach as the number of loops are more. So now my approach will be to optimize this particular solution using an optimal solution approach. Okay, so I can write this as my optimal solution. What is going to be my optimal solution? Okay, so first I know one thing, that I'll be storing a low, okay, I will be storing a mid value and a high value, kind of like a binary search we will apply. Okay, so initially my low will be at the 0th position, okay, and my high will be at the last position, okay, at the n-1th position. So what I will be taking is, first I know that suppose this is my zeros arrays. In one array I will be storing the zeros in the beginning, right? So there will be zeros like this, okay, then there will be ones, all these values will be ones, okay, and then there comes a position, where it can be any random values, 0, 1, 2, and finally lastly what I'll be having is all the values as 2's. So how we are going to do? We are going to use the 2-pointer method and approach, which will help us go and traverse to this particular array list. Okay, so what we can see is initially my low will be 0, my high will be array of size minus 1, and sorry, this is my high, okay, and my mid value will be 0 initial, means I'm taking this as my middle position. So whenever I'll be traversing through the loop like this, whenever I'm encountering a 0 and then I'm encountering a 1, suppose whenever I'm encountering a 1, I'll be checking whether anywhere 1 is present. Okay, so here is a 1, so I'll put this value, I'll swap this value. Okay, so if 0 is encountered, I will put the 0 over here. If 1 is encountered, I will put the 1 over there. So we will be using a swapping concept. Okay, now the loop will run from the middle position to the highest position. Okay, similarly we can swap the values accordingly, and we'll be calling a swap function. And that's it. Okay, first we are going to swap the zeros and ones, and then the ones and twos, and then all the elements all together. Okay, so let us code this particular solution. Okay, so we have this. So what I can say is, I'll be writing int low equals to 0. I can write an int mid equals to 0. I can write an int high equals to, I can write array dot size, estimate size minus 1. Okay, I'll be having a loop which will have low till high. Okay, sorry, mid till high, then equals to high. Okay, and in this particular loop, what I'll be doing is, what I'll be carefully doing is, I have a mid till high values. Okay, and next we are going to do if function. Okay, in the if function, what I'll be putting is, if my array dot get, okay, array dot get mid value is equals to 0, means I'm encountering a value which is equals to 0. I'll be just swapping it with the position where 0 is present. Okay, so I'll be calling my swap function. So before that, I should make a swap function as well, right? So I can write public void swap. Okay, I'll write public void swap. I'll be writing an array list of type integer. Okay, you can say the array list as abc. I will be having an int I and int j. Okay, I'll be swapping the elements of the array list. What I can store is a temporary variable equals to array dot abc, since the abc dot get I. Then I can say abc dot get I, abc dot get I. What I will do is, I will swap this with the jth position, right? So for jth position, what I'll be doing is abc dot set, because in the array list we can't use get, we will be using set functions. You can use an I, you can use array dot get of j. Okay, and then lastly we'll be using abc dot set of, we can write abc dot set of j comma temporary variable. Okay, so I've done the swap function nicely. Now I have the array of get mid equals to 0. What I'll be doing is swapping the values array low plus 1 and mid plus 1. Okay, else if I'll be doing array of get of mid equals to 1, so mid plus 1, and lastly if all the conditions are done, so I can write the else part, which is swapping the values. So I can write array my middle value, and my high will go down. Okay, so I'm swapping the mid with the high over here, and I'm swapping the low and the mid together. Okay, so that's it. Let's just compile. Okay, so we are having a mid plus 1, so mid plus plus we can write abc dot set, so it's taking more than the time. Okay, let's just check the output. We are taking lows, highs, medium values, mid less than. If mid is 0, then swapping the array. Okay, so I can write low plus plus, mid plus plus, and yeah, let's submit. So this was the problem on swapping 0, 1 and 2. If you guys understood the problem statement, make sure you guys like, share and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much.